Afternoon.
Good morning, sunshine.
You know how I love when we show up matching and we weren't planning on it.
Winning is winning.
Winning is winning, she says.
That is a life motto for me.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Content Strategy School for Realtors Live with Lauren Taylor and Randy Mendez-Para, your real estate BFFs. We just made that up right now.
Love
Look how
it.
fire that was, guys. You see how
That's
natural
so
that was?
fire. Yep, absolutely. Queen of execution right there on the spot.
Imperfect action. You never know what's going to work, right? So this is, I think, episode 4 or 5. If
Mhm.
you are, we would love for you guys to download and listen to any of our previous episodes on Apple Podcasts. If you would like a link to that, Randy's account, the Realtor Content Strategy account, can send that directly to you. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave us a review. What do you think? These babbling idiots, they should stop doing a podcast? Sounds fantastic. These amazing ladies, what camaraderie. How great to see women lifting each other up in success. Just a couple ideas. 5 stars. We love you.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. I love that. And I also love today's topic. So, you're so funny because you gave it to me yesterday and I was like, oh, look at Lauren putting me on the hot seat. So do you want to share that?
Yes. So, no, depending on when you were listening to this, this week, Facebook and Instagram had a little glitch,
Yeah.
and there was definitely a hot moment of terror going around businesses who are heavily audience heavy, and maybe haven't prioritized either diversifying their audience across multiple platforms, but certainly have not diversified email capture. And for me, 2 years ago, when Facebook went through its glitch, which I feel like they never really truly recovered from, like I feel like they very much so still have a lot of issues there when that glitch happened. And I think it was down for like a half of a day. When that happened, me and my business partner at the time, everything built on Facebook groups, it was pure panic. It was panic. And so we went into like defensive strategy mode. It's like, if this really is what happens and happens again, what would we need to do to be able to exist as a business, knowing that our primary lead generation and relationship building is through social and organic content strategy. And so we put in place some defensive measures, a big one of them being like, we need to be capturing more member information, more client information, the people that we connect with. And I've never been big in email marketing, but to me, it became like a defensive strategy of like, how do we collect people's information so that way, if something were to ever happen to us, we could recreate this platform. And so for those of you who are not familiar with the Addison Rae situation that happened back in 2020, Addison Rae was a big TikToker. She grew really fast, like millions of followers, right there behind Charlie D'Amelio on TikTok, and then came out with a Snapchat deal. And TikTok was like, oh yeah, you think so? You think you're going to sit on our platform with millions and millions of followers and then you're going to move them all over Snapchat? I think not, my friend. We own this. You do not. And they shut her down overnight. And so that to me is like also keeping that in mind, like, look, you don't own your audience. We don't own these platforms, but it's a little bit easier to own contact information than an email list. So it has to be a prioritize in your business. And that's what brought us to today's challenge. I challenged Randy that we should each come up with an idea for agents to grow their email list, like quick, and then present them to you guys. And then you guys have to choose a winner. So this is a LT versus Randy showdown in our first annual showdown.
Annual. We're going at this every year. All right, let's do it.
We flipped a coin to see who goes first, and Randy goes first.
Nice. Okay, so I have had success a few different ways building my email list. But I'm going to tell you that without a doubt, the number one thing that has been a game changer for me is leading with value. And so when it comes to clients and building a client-based and a local-based, it has been through virtual events. So I have had tremendous success also with Facebook group, a value-driven Facebook group, but ultimately, the success that has led to transactions and to deeper relationships have come from having a workshop type event and then exposing like my entire market to that. So we've done how to buy homes, we've done how to move up, we've done seller workshops. And when we do these workshops, what we find is we have a very high registration, AKA email capture rate. And then we usually only see about maybe 20 to 30% of those people actually show up. But I will tell you that the power is in actually following up with the people that don't show up. Hey, Sally, I didn't see you on our workshop. I know you registered, so I wanted to follow up with you. And so that has been a absolute game changer for our production business. We're leading with value, so it's a very easy ask. And then the follow-up is so simple, whether they attended or didn't attend. And that honestly, each time we do that, it just allows us a new handful of bought in hand raisers that want to hear from us versus cold online leads that are like, who is this, right?
I love the webinar and workshop. I actually am hosting one today, which I'm excited. If any of you guys attend or attended, like let me know in the comments. But I love the workshop strategy. I think that it's a brilliant way to deliver value. I think that it's a nice way to follow up with people who you maybe don't have like a reason to get in deeper relationship with them. It's like, oh, hey, I'm hosting this and made me think of you,
Yes.
right? And like, oh yeah, I was thinking about buying this year, right? It just is a lead in versus the generic follow up of like, oh, are you still considering buying this year? Like, you know, I also think there's some great verbiage from that book that you and I both read of exactly what to say in real estate. We're like, I don't know if this would be a good fit for you, but we're hosting this webinar next week, and I would love, if you know someone who is considering buying a home, we'd love for them to attend. And 9 times out of 10, right, they're like, oh, like I would love to come, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like a soft way of re-engaging. So do you do you have people register on like Eventbrite? How do you
No.
manage the logistics of that?
No. So super simple. Zoom. We already have Zoom. All of us already have a Zoom account, right? There is not another reason to go get it. So Zoom has a registration, and you can make sure that you capture email. You can make sure that you capture phone number. You can even ask questions, and you can also make it reoccurring. So something that we have done is we kind of always have the same Zoom link. And then when we're putting information out, even when we're 30, 60 days from the next one, we're just kind of leaving the trail everywhere of like, here's our next workshop, you can join it. And it's interesting to me because like randomly registration pops in and I'm like, man, people are on it. They're like 6 weeks ahead. And of course we do like, very saturated exposure and marketing right as we get closer into those final weeks before, but using that reoccurring Zoom link and just having that registration open and then being able to speak to it. And again, kind of going back to some of the other tools we talk about, I know at any point, if I'm online, I can use ManyChat and I can, say drop the workshop and then it'll go ahead on our platforms and send them that link. So just having an evergreen registration link is like a nonstop ability to attract those emails.
It's huge. What do you feel like is the most powerful way to promote that workshop?
So social media is powerful, but I will say that what has really been nice and happened is that we're starting to see really good engagement from the email list itself. So as it's like compounding, people are raising their hands there. And then you probably made the most powerful point. It is the best way to re-engage all of the people we have sitting in our CRM.
Yeah.
So we have a very large CRM. And I always say, there's a difference between my lead house and my past clients and my actual, clients. And I engage both. And what you said was what I noticed is like, I'm usually going after the lead house because I'm like, oh, who hasn't transacted with us? Whose attention can we capture? But I include all the past clients and I'm always surprised at like, oh my goodness, you want to sell again? You want to move again? You want to retransact again? And so we don't limit it to either. We expose our entire CRM to it.
I love that. So it's not only a great way to add to your database, but also to deliver value to your database. Do you offer a replay?
Actually, I haven't, but totally could. So
something happened to your mic, by the way.
Like
your mic is different now. Oh, it's buried in your hair, Randy.
Is it better or worse?
That was worse.
Oh my gosh. I have the worst mic problems.
That's bad if we're a podcast.
Yes, I know. In our training, Lauren, is that better?
It was better. And then you asked me if it was better, and now it's worse.
It's worse right now.
It's still weird. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. Lauren and I teach agents training together, and they want to take up a podcast a mic GoFundMe. Now it's not
Yeah.
working at all.
No, now it's
Okay.
working. I'm sure
Is
there's
it?
like some sort of AI tool out there that we can use that would like,
There is. There is. It's amazing. It's amazing. It changes it. But I really just want to fix my mic problems. I
yeah,
have I
you
this
really do
this
have
is
mic problems.
this is me trying new today. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be like Lauren and I'm gonna use my headphones and it's not working.
Hashtag LTL,
Oh,
baby.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Which one is the mic?
It's this one. Is your mic like flipping around down on your, that's what that is the other one,
It's
Randy.
this one.
Oh my God. I
It's
love
this
and
one.
hate you so deeply on so many different levels.
Is that better now?
So much better.
Well, you know what?
For those of us who cannot see on video right now, Randy had the wrong hair plug in, so her mic was just dangling in her hair,
You know what?
which was
This
that
is
noise
why
that
we're
you
going to get
heard.
5-star reviews. This is why we're going to get 5-star reviews. I
Oh,
love the
guys,
real
look.
and rawness of this podcast.
Imperfect action. Every single like breakthrough I've ever had in my business has come through imperfect action. Okay. And like, I just don't want you to think that you can't do something great because it has to be perfect. Like,
Look
I
at
don't, if you're
Randy.
laughing
She
right
builds a
now, then we win.
successful email list and doesn't even know how to use her headphones.
Right? Like if she can do it, if this episode you don't walk away with that feeling like if they could do it, I could do it. Like that's what we want you to feel here on the Content Strategy School for Realtors.
Well, I love the comments though coming in, like Gold Nugget, the Evergreen Zoom registration. So,
Yes.
looks like I brought some heat, Lauren. So
Okay.
now I've delivered my jab, and you're up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Randy, and I think this is so interesting of like our different dynamics and like our perspectives we take. So like, yes, I think that offering something of value specific to real estate is very important, but it also limits your audience. If you think about the hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people in your city that you could potentially want to work with when they want to buy and sell, which they only do every like 4 or 6 or 7 years, depending on interest rates, quite frankly, then by only collecting emails from people who are in the buying phase, right? We are limiting our exposure. We are limiting our audience. We are limiting our referrals. We are limiting the growth of our personal brand. So LT takes a little bit of a different approach. And I say, I don't want necessarily collect the emails of buyers and sellers. I mean, I do, but I would like to 10x the strategy by taking more of like a content first or a community based
Mm.
approach first. And every week, there's a woman who does this in Nashville, and she does it. She has a great idea. I hope that she's not listening, but like
That's
we could
okay.
a
Tear
million
her
X her.
process apart.
We could a million X her, her idea. I messaged her at one point and was like, I see exactly what you're doing, and I love everything about it. Her Facebook page is Nashville Connect, and it is all about connecting with your community here in Nashville. And so it's like the top 10 barbecue places to top 10 places to take your father for Father's Day for barbecue in Nashville, right? 5 places that offer like Mother's Day lunch. So I found a lot of success with getting people to opt in on kind of like short lead captures
Hmm.
that are only available for a limited time. So there's a certain amount of urgency around it, right? Meaning like there's some sort of timeline that's coming. Let's say like Christmas lights, right? Like top 20 Christmas light neighborhoods your family should see this year, right? Pumpkin patches, um, outdoor festivals, whether it's movies in the park, right? And so I take a more community-based approach because that's more top of funnel. It's going to get us more views. It's going to get us more audience. It's going to drive more engagement. And then I'm already then in relationship with them before, like when it comes time to buy and sell. Now, to use this strategy to capture email is fantastic. You're going to grow a massive list of your local audience, but also then puts a little bit more pressure on making sure that you're segmenting your email list, which is essentially like, here's all the
Right.
emails about our town, right? They're already in my system. So I don't need to ask them for their email again to send them the Father's Day thing if they already came in for the pumpkin patch thing. But you're essentially becoming like that community mayor that kind of knows everything that's going on. You're like that digital connector, if you will. And then sprinkled in that kind of like community content that you send them in email really is, different neighborhoods that are up and coming. Maybe there's new homes, like hot homes that just hit the market, your listings. And when then people engage in the real estate based content, that moves them to the next step in their like segmented email list of like people who are considering buying and selling. So I think the most important thing here is that me and Randy both have a strategy for when people to get people to raise their hand. right? And so
Right.
that is really important anytime that we're looking to engage an audience, whether I'm going to engage them, a year before they're going to buy because I'm going for a quantity play, or you're going to engage them like, oh, I'm considering buying, in the next couple of months. So like come to this webinar play. Either way, someone is raising their hand, whether they're clicking on a link in the email that I sent them or they're registering for a workshop. But remember, if you use Lauren's strategy, and you vote for her, and you have this big giant email list of 100,000 local families who, ultimately someday may want to buy and sell. That's the perfect email list to send that email to about that
That's what I was
workshop,
going
to
to say.
then identify
Yeah.
those buyers and sellers when you have that like kind of conversion type strategy. So I would recommend putting like once a month, putting something together. Don't overthink it, like 5, 8, 10 things tops, and really make it about the community. I like this too because realtors are so bad at staying top of funnel. Everyone wants to talk about the sales. Everyone talks about real estate specific. And so you guys leave these people who live in your area just who are not ready to buy and sell. They're not on that timeline yet. You kind of leave them floundering out there around, when you could be attracting them. And then by the time they want to buy or sell, they're like, I've been following
Right.
Lauren
Right.
for a
They
year. Like,
trust you.
I'm going to reach out
Yeah.
to Lauren, right? It's
Yeah.
about building that trust. So we got some people watching right now. I would love to take an initial vote. You've both heard me and Randy's strategy for building your email list, not only as a defensive strategy, protect you in case one of these social platforms goes down again, but also how you turn that then into an offensive strategy, by using that to find your next buyer or seller. So we'd love to hear your votes here in the comment. If you are listening to this on the podcast, what you can do is you can actually, drop where would they do this, Randy? This is where we close the loop. If you run a podcast, you need to close the loop, guys.
Well, I would love for you to just include it in your review. Like, I found this
Mm-hmm.
podcast and I got this gold nugget from Randy that gives me some
Randy's the best.
immediate hand raisers, and I am going to execute Randy's simple, easy, quick, effective Zoom strategy right away.
Or you could say, I really recommend listening to everything that Lauren says. I can't believe I haven't been growing a massive email list in my local community by featuring community-based content on my social media. And this is 5 stars all the way around. The choice is yours.
It is yours, but here's honestly what I do love. I do think the compound is the wind. Bringing the two together is the wind. So here's the thing: most of us as agents, we struggle with bandwidth. Where we have a problem with getting going on something high level. And I think that the community base to become your community mayor absolutely should be a goal, right? So I think you should absolutely work towards that. And Lauren, you are so right. When you were talking, I was just like, and I was like chomping at the bit to say, oh my gosh, this is who you send the workshop invite to, because then you're going to identify your hand raisers. So I love it. And the beautiful thing about this is you could start with either or, right? You could start with either or. So I think that we just gave them like the winning combination of like how they're continuing to grow that and become, oh, look, see, we even have it.
Oh, no,
Lauren
Brian.
for the
No,
win.
you got to choose a side, Brian.
No, he gave it to you. So he did. He said Lauren for the win. All right. So now,
I have a
we got
question,
to go.
Randy.
What?
So the next thing that would go through my mind if I'm a listener is like, that's great, but like, what system do I use to email? I
That's
think you and I
exactly
have
what I was going to
both.
say. Yeah.
You and I have both been through enough systems to say like what to look for in a email system. I think that what you choose as like a CRM as an agent versus what you choose, yes. Sorry, I got another vote. What you choose as for a CRM as an agent when it comes to like properties versus just like email management. I know you use 2 systems. Like what
I
brought
do.
you
I
to
do.
that?
So, hot topic, unpopular opinion. Unpopular opinion. I do not use my CRM for my emails. Here's the thing: I do not want someone to opt out of my CRM. So, I reserve my CRM emailing for, I tried to do limited one-on-one. I do use Follow Up Boss. So, I live and die in Follow Up Boss. It has been an absolute game changer for my business. But as far as my emails, even when I do those Zoom events, I immediately just download that registration and then I put them in the segment accordingly in Flowdesk. Flowdesk is like a game changer for me. I get excited about emails. I can design them. I can show up very personal. That is the power. Also, I was going to say when you were talking earlier about the value of owning your relationships, the internet is noisy. So aside from the scary fact it can crash or it can be taken from you, it is very noisy. And you would be shocked at how many people that you are connected to, whether that's via a closed Facebook group, whether that is online, that are not seeing you. And so something I have learned is when I show up very authentically and regularly in my emails, people are like, I freaking love you. Like I'm their
Did
cup
you
of
just
tea. And I'm like,
say
what?
the F word?
No, I said freaking. I said
You
freaking.
guys, we almost had a breakthrough. We almost got her. I know someday I'll wear you down.
No, I said freaking. But like that has been the coolest experience for me too. So yeah, I do not use the same. Lauren, I do not use one and the same.
I had originally started on like Constant Contact, which was fine. We recently moved over to Go High Level, which I'm just absolutely loving. And we've had a great response rate. We use Go High Level for everything at this point. I love being able to see like who's open what and like
What?
what
Yeah.
our whole relationship has looked like with them. I do think that it can be overwhelming and it can be very intimidating because it's like an all-inclusive system. I think getting up with something like Flowdesk or like Emailchimp would be a little bit less like overwhelming. Did you ever use KV Core?
I didn't. I never really could get into it. I know that that sounds silly, but I'm one of those people when it comes to systems and operations. It just has to have a certain like flow and feel. Like I have to be able to kind of self navigate.
Mhm.
If I have to do too much, on a learning curve to get going, I don't get excited. I want to like jump in there and get to action.
It truly is amazing how much the visualization of how implementing a system looks to me, how quickly we can get it like up and
Yeah.
going if it makes sense in my brain. If the way, and I felt the same way with KV Core, like if it didn't make sense in my brain, like it didn't feel very intuitive, right? Like user friendly, then I just was like, I don't even know what to
Yeah.
do here and just kind of
100%.
move on. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But you're so right. I mean, the value in the email is tenfold. And one of them is being able to see. I shared with you that this week I sent out an email with a simple response that was like, I made a cow reference about, being a cow. And then I said, hit me with a moo. And I had so many moo responses. And it was like, it can be exciting. I think that's the next thing is when we hear about emailing, I think it could feel boring and it could feel stagnant. And like we just think of emails being boring. And I have relationships all the time are birthed from email. And I'm like, I freaking love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a good side effect. So we also have a thumbs down vote for KV Core. Sorry,
This
guys.
this podcast is not sponsored by KV Core, evidently. Um, but
It
maybe
is not.
sponsored by Flowdesk someday.
Right?
Um, yeah, I think no, I don't think anyone needs something else to manage.
Right.
And we put a lot of weight on what do we say then to these people we have in this email list. First of all, number one, you don't have to say anything, guys. You could be that person who just sends out an email blast every time that you have a webinar. Like that can be your strategy. And honestly, I don't think that we all need extra things to do. But if you wanted to like nurture your list, if you wanted to like build relationships in your list, if you wanted to like fully optimize and convert out of that list, there's absolutely a strategy for that. It's something we talk about a lot in Amplified because once I started collecting everyone's emails, I was that person who was like, well, I'm just going to collect these emails. And then I didn't do anything with them. I was like, well, I really need to like deliver value there. So I really worked on how do I repurpose content that I'm already creating, putting it in email form. So that way people who missed me
Right.
on the screen, right, are able to get the content here. And then not only that, like having a weekly conversion strategy, which I think is really important, where people don't feel sold to, but it gives them the opportunity to raise their hand, right? That's all I truly want from any type of conversion strategy is giving someone the opportunity to raise their hand so they can tap into whatever we have going on next. So that way they can get the help that they need. Because I guess we solve problems for a living. It's that simple.
100%. Well, and we put so much when we talk about content, we put so much effort into our content, right? And one of the things that we walk you through here on our podcast is making sure that you're delivering that valuable content. And emails allow you to compound the exposure for those. So one of the things that I do is I go back and I'll even share, like I have one email template that was like, I don't send it every week, but I send it sporadically, every 6 weeks. That's like, this is the one that got everyone talking on Instagram.
Mhm.
And then I drop in the video that got everyone talking on Instagram. And so then I'll repurpose that. I also will often say, like, hey, I have educational based emails when I'm on the phone with somebody that's a lead. And I'll say, can I go ahead and sign you up for those? And I'm not creating a whole nother email that's educational based. I'm just repurposing the content I'm already putting out on my channels and
Mhm.
maybe elaborating on it instead of my short caption that was adequate for Instagram. I'm just elaborating a little bit on that and sending that. So it becomes very powerful. Like you said, there's so many things, but if we can identify the right things
Mhm.
and we can properly intertwine them and layer them on each other and have basically a good tech stack, but good education stack for our clients, that's where the momentum really comes. And when we start seeing results is when we stay motivated. When you start to do something and you do the work of becoming the digital mayor and then you see no results, that's when you get burnt out and then you lack consistency. When
Yeah.
you see the hand raisers, you get excited and you double down.
And if you never work your email list, the algorithm just feels so much more daunting because you're so reliant on the algorithm putting you back in front of people. So by having this list, I totally agree with you. I like yesterday, I think it was earlier this week, I went live in my group. There's this gentleman who is doing like affiliate marketing and he's doing it so good because he's like naming an enemy and he's like really drawing in that millennial crowd. Like he's grown, I want to say like 100,000 followers in the last like 100 days or something like that. And he's just doing it really well. And I'm like, this is a strategy that every single business owner should be using. And so I went live in my group because it's just the easiest way to like, let me just rant and ramble about what's happening here. Of course, I side recorded myself, guys, and you're going to see some of those clips coming out here on my like front facing reels, right? But then I took the link to that video in the group and I sent it out to my email list. And I was like,
Right,
this
right,
guy has not spoken a word. In over 6 months, he's grown 100,000 followers by merely putting text on screen and doing XYZ. And this is how you can do it too. I shot a quick video. If you want to learn, come learn, right? So my goal is that anyone on my email list sees as value, right? They're like, yes, like I want to grow. If you want to grow 100,000 followers without speaking a word in 90 days, like I'm going to appreciate the person who just sent me how
how to
exactly
do it.
someone just did that,
Right.
right? And maybe someone to like model my content strategy after. And so just something like that, thinking about like where are we already creating content? And it's like, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
about creating more content. It's about, positioning and pushing out. I also think that people underestimate the amount of manual intervention you can have on the performance of your content. Meaning, um, I absolutely will take a reel that like I feel like this is powerful. This delivers value. This is something that's going to build a relationship with the people that I want to be in relationship with. I will share it into my broadcast set thread on Instagram. Okay, there's 2,300 people I just exposed it to. I will share it into my group of 7,000
Right, right,
entrepreneurs. I will share it to my email list of 12,000 entrepreneurs. I will share it into 3 to 4 Facebook groups that I don't run in a way to build more relationships and bring value and to also increase the exposure on that particular
right,
video. Like I
right.
will do those things. I think that it's a mixture, specifically when you're getting started, focusing on those high level kind of manual pushes that you can do to get better engagement is really important. And then it just becomes a mixture depending on how well your content is performing at the time as to whether or not you want to take those extra steps or like a VA takes those extra steps for you.
I think that is so powerful. And one of the roadblocks that I've seen agents have with that mentally is that they're fearful that they're oversaturating someone. And when it comes to online, it's just not a reality. It's just not, again, how it works. Do not allow the fear of oversaturating one person stop you from actually, getting exposed to multiple. Because so many times I'm like, wait a minute, how do you not know this? Like I've been talking about this on Instagram and Facebook, and I've been talking about it all the places. And I will be looking at somebody that's like, I had no idea. Like I never saw it. And so you are so right in the sense that I would almost go as far as to say we are doing our audience a disservice if we are not making sure that we're putting this in multiple places. And we're hesitant that we might oversaturate them when I promise you, you are underexposing
I
100%.
you cannot see my face right now. I am like adamantly agreeing with Randy. Yes, especially if you are an expert, guys.
Yeah.
Every day I talk to experts who have done incredible things, have 10 times the results and the credentials and the like the knowledge as some of these creators out here who have 10 times less, right?
Yeah.
10 times less experience, 10 times less results, 10 times less. But you know what they had? Like the delusional confidence that they should be the one creating the content, which I fucking love also. Okay. If you're that person, you go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
But if you are a true expert in your field, you are someone who has an established track record, you come from a place of service, you truly feel that you are the best choice for people because they're going to get what they came for, right? You have a responsibility to be loud, and you have a responsibility to be loud across multiple platforms consistently over long periods of time. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, people just don't know that there's another better option. There's no one there to challenge the other noise. And if you don't agree with some of the information out there, it's also your responsibility to say
Yeah.
it. I'm not here not to upset like Instagram influencers. I'm here for people who want to grow a loyal following, attract their ideal audience, and work with clients, right? Through social media as a channel. So just remember who you're here to serve. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be everyone's friend. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to agree with you. But if you want to be considered a thought leader in your space, you can't just be tips and tricks agreeable. You have to come
Mm-hmm.
on here, be consistent, be loud, and don't be scared to challenge what's being said in the space.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes that I share with my team all the time that will just shine a big, huge light on my redneck roots is balls build businesses, right? It builds businesses. I have seen time and time again in the real estate industry, somebody that is extremely new or extremely green or even, underskilled. And I don't say that as a jerk. It's just matter of fact that has tremendous success. And the key differentiator is their balls. They go for it. They go for it. And I sit flabbergasted, like, how is this happening? And it literally is the power of execution, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the power of execution. And it's also the power of perception being reality. And so again, to Lauren's point, when we say you're doing somebody a disservice, if you are not putting your voice and your skill and your knowledge out there and you're allowing the executor who is not as skilled to take the microphone, then you wonder why, when you have a conversation with people, they have a diminished outlook on our industry. Why do they see them? Because we say, well, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to sell houses and I'm not going to worry about speaking out loud. I'm not worried about being the digital mayor. I'm not worried about doing all those things. I'm
I
serving my
don't need to be
clients.
an internet influencer to be
Right.
able to run my
But
business. You don't.
you
You
don't,
don't.
you don't, you don't. But you do have to understand there's ramifications for that. So you don't also get to complain on the flip side when people's perception of the industry is not what you want it to be, when you're not contributing to the perception of the industry, right?
100%. I think that people would be surprised too how well they were received if they just took that mindset. Say, I'm not here to be a real estate influencer. I'm here to be a consumer
Oh,
advocate, right?
yeah, that's
To
good.
just
That's good.
challenge the information that's being put out here to tell you what's crap and what's not crap based on my 3 decades of experience and based on my $2 billion of homes that I've sold
Mm-hmm.
and my
Right.
thousands of 5-star reviews. Like that's the person that I hope DMs me right now is literally like someone who has 20 years of experience who's losing to 19-year-olds in the market who can run a YouTube channel. That's what got me
100%.
into content, guys. So I know we started this whole conversation about email, right? But in order to get the emails in at least this type of a space, you have to be able to create the content. I mean, being that advocate and coming out and challenging what's being said and the misinformation being shared is a powerful way to do that without saying, falling into the influencer space.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's something that is so easy to use in other places of your business. So when you take the time to put out a video and a piece of content about something you're passionate about, repurpose that. I mean, I win with video in my business in a multitude. It's not just my front facing social media platforms, right? It is also, for instance, being able to take that very content and educate the people I'm in relationship with and not, you know what I'm saying? So it's so powerful to be able to do this. It's so powerful to be able to scale it. And then we're changing the experience for our client and we're sending one more consumer out there saying, well, this was my experience with a real estate agent. Like I would never buy or sell without a real estate agent, right? So we've got to have a good process that properly educates our clients. And this is where it gets powerful. Just take the same education that when you're on that Zoom call and you're having that buyer consult, take that side facing or take a clip from that buyer consult and repurpose it and put it out. Just so, when you're answering questions, same thing. Like one thing I'm going to be doing, Lauren, it's like I'm just taking my questions all week long that I'm getting from clients and I'm making a running list. And once a month, I'm sitting down and Jordy's asking me the questions and I'm answering the questions. So all I'm continuing to do is serve my clients. I'm just serving my clients with the camera on. And now, hopefully, in addition to providing the valuable answer to my clients, I'm also providing the valuable answer to my audience.
Absolutely. That is the best way to do it. It is the best content strategy idea that ChatGPT cannot give you. If you guys have noticed, I've stopped talking about ChatGPT a lot because I feel like there was a big push there. And we use ChatGPT in the Amplified. I could teach people how to use it properly. I don't think that any of the prompts that are being provided right now are better than this real life example that Randy just gave. If you are a true professional in your field, you are having conversations every single day that should be made into content. And so you don't need a robot to tell you what your people are interested in. You just need to fucking listen. And then you need to execute, right? And so, then you need to execute. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. We hope that we were an enjoyable listen for those of you guys listening in your car. For those of us who joined us live here on Instagram, like we come on every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We love you guys interacting, engaging here. Your comments are just everything to us. If you're listening to the podcast, do not forget to hit us with a 5-star review and tell us who won this episode. Did Randy win? Did Lauren win? Because there is going to be a big prize. And next week we will reveal the person who won and the prize that they received. And I cannot wait to figure out what that is, but it will happen.
I love it. I love it. They don't get the opportunity to say the dynamic duo for the win. I mean, together we gave them the perfect recipe. Is that an option or no? They have to vote for one of us. They have to.
No, they have to. Hold on. Min needs our help. Hold on. Are we gonna let Min in here and he's
LT1.
He's bombing.
LT1.
LT1. Nice. Hold on. Min is crashing our. What's wrong, Min?
What's up, Min?
I need your. What's going on, ladies? I need
Content
your help.
Strategy
Actually.
School to the rescue. What's the problem we can solve today?
You know what? I've been. I'm on this kick on content now. I call it layering. I layer ancillary products that have nothing to do with what I'm selling. So I'm trying to find a better route or better way to get these scripts done. And I know I'm old school. I do everything manually still. I just like the way I deliver more manually. So I'm trying to say, is there a way, an AI product, or how would you do it, where to create content at a higher pace? And I want, because literally, like we're killing it this month, and it's getting better and better and better. And I'm trying to find a way to bang out more content. For me, text on screen is not my thing. Talking head is my thing. I tried a couple text on screen. We did away with the faceless stuff. It just didn't kick it well. But as soon as I talk, for some reason, people just love seeing my face.
Well, you gotta love a full face, dude. You gotta give the people what they want.
So how would you deliver more content? Because if I have to rely on my talking head, I'm trying to get my scripts out quick enough, and as I'm getting them out now, on top of that, I have to layer it, put it in a specific way, and then I'm getting it to an artist to draw it. So I'm doodling, but I'm manually doodling, where I'm having someone doodle the art for me, and then that means I have to give them specific instructions, and then I practice my scripts, and then I drop them. Because now, as I'm doodling, I'm landing, I'm getting, it's doing a lot better for me. So even though I'm talking, they see my face for a second, they see my doodle, and that's what's doing it well for me. But how do I mass produce that? Because it's hard to mass produce. Honestly, it's like I haven't put out content recording a while, because to mass produce, that's hard. That's why I need your ladies' advice.
First of all, I love this idea of having people just jump on.
An example
one? Yeah, can you give an example?
Yeah. So if I'm gonna do one on, if you're gonna say, the best way, or I think the best strategy to buy a home is buying it through a self-directed Roth IRA. Because if you buy property through a self-directed Roth IRA, you don't pay taxes on your gain, and you don't have to deal with capital gains. You have to deal with a 1031 exchange.
Got it.
So if you're self-employed, I would flood money into my Roth for about a year, 2 years, and then use that money to either lend out to someone else, you make money on interest, you don't pay taxes on, and you can either That's like another subject. Or you can buy your investment properties and keep flipping it over and over again.
So you typing these out right now, these scripts?
So my goal is first is I write out the ideas, then I work on my hook. Okay. So my hook, I look at myself, I call it the my direct hook. I cut out the fluff. So I say it over and over again until I get out the fluff.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get out the fluff, then I extract the real words. Like if you're gonna buy the home, the best like if you're gonna buy a home or the best strategy to buying
How
properties.
long does this whole process take you?
You don't laugh at me, all
Oh,
right?
I'm
Sometimes
ready.
one will take me about 30 minutes to an hour because I work on it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't count my market updates as my content. I just do that as like I like talking about economics
Mm-hmm.
and I like talking about Jerome Powell. So my
So
5 p.m. content is my meat potatoes, but I only do 3 a week. I do not I do like duets or I'll do a meme Mondays and Fridays. But I have so much more content now. I know what content to put out for it to go viral to get a bigger audience.
right.
I wish I can crank out more content.
So
Lauren, are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking? Like, why is he not just having a natural conversation and capturing that?
Because the hook,
look at
not because
Randy,
the
the
I
student
mean,
has become the teacher.
I
No,
just
it's
think
not.
you're
Listen to what Randy's
overcomplicating
saying.
it.
You're overcomplicating the shit out of it.
Yeah, because you're focusing on creating a script when you already are delivering the value. You're already bringing the value in the conversation.
What Min is saying is that he has found, number one, when you get into very like structured hooks, there is definitely ones that perform better and there are definitely ones that perform less.
Right.
But what we need to do, Min, is to find a more natural way to bring this out of you
to find the
quicker.
hook.
Yes. And so I would literally do exactly what I did this week because I was recording what you were talking about in this reaction to a affiliate marketer gentleman who's growing on B-roll really fast. And I was like recording myself, like, this is what's happening here. This is the hook, right? And I was doing it. I was like, this is not working. I can't pull out of me what I would naturally just be saying to people. So I went live in my Facebook group and I side recorded myself and I'm calling it rant strategy. Min,
Mhm.
you'll love this. It's called rant strategy, where I literally am just like, I'm going to rant about this for 5 minutes. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to peel back the layers of the onion and I'm going to side record myself. And then in those 10 minutes, I absolutely guarantee you there is the hook that you are looking for. So now I just created a long form video that could be used, right? But really what it did is it created 3 reels for me already that I can then reuse later. And you can use that hook to then go to that drawing doodle. And not only that, you could probably send that video to the person who's doodling it with like a brief sketch and say, just watch this video. This is the sketch I'm looking for. So you understand what you're doing.
I'm gonna try that. I just know business to business to consumer is different.
Mm-hmm.
I know unless you're like even if you're like a Hormozy, if you're doing business to consumer, it's a different hit than business to business. When you're doing business to consumer, I tried, like
The side view.
the side view works good, but if it's even the side view, the ones that did really well for me had the hooks or had someone ask me the question. It seems like it's more organic. But I know when you're trying to have a real conversation with somebody, you you rant too much or there's no hook to get the consumer to see where they're going to get value off of watching your video. And that's why a lot of these podcast videos that I see a lot of people do, they don't perform well to business to consumer. I've tried it. I'll do it again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this week. But I know the ranting thing works when it's business to business. They're going to watch it because they think you're gonna solve cancer. You have the fountain of youth somewhere, and they're gonna stop and watch it because it's business to business. That's why business to business makes more money, quicker money than business to consumer. Business to consumer is like the longest play out there in the world. But I'll try it this week because I can't go on like this anymore.
Do me a favor. Also, yeah, it's just way too long, right? We got to speed up that process. Also, DM me hook, and I pulled like the top like 25 or something like that performing hooks from like the most viral videos of the, and I would like having those in front of you and just being like keeping that in mind as you do your rant, right?
Yeah.
Of like, this is the different, like 3 different ways that it could be positioned. Like once someone realizes they can just pull their money from their Roth IRA and not, it won't cost them a dime to buy their new home, like their mind is blown. Let me show you how, right? So like, there's one hook. Second hook, like, do you want to know how people are buying a house? So this is how people are buying houses for $0. by the money they've already saved without paying
Right.
money in taxes. Like, let me show you how, right? So, and then you can build those into that rant because like you could say these 3 hooks would work with this. Just kind of keep that in mind while I'm going.
I like your first one. Like your first one looks good. I like that one.
Well, I'll send you the Otter AI on this so you can pull the hook from it.
No. He can also go to our podcast and he can take a listen, get that again, read and leave us a review.
Is it on
Apple.
YouTube?
It's
YouTube or
on
Apple?
Apple.
So this is on Apple right now?
This will be
It will be
on Apple.
Yeah, as soon as it's on there, I'll check it out now. I'll
you only have
to review.
wait 2 weeks to get access to all this.
Hey, if when I get value from somebody, if they ask me to do something, I do it. I do it as quick as I can.
Min's always sending people. He takes care of us. He's a friend of the show. Min can pop in anytime.
Oh yeah, dude, you guys give a lot of value, and I think I sometimes I feel like it should be easy, but because I've done it for so long. But this week I was at this Rocket conference. And there's so many people out there who are trying to get into it, but if they didn't have shows like the shows you guys have, they would be lost. So you guys are doing a good thing for the community.
You know what? It's simple, not easy.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, look, if someone's trying to tell you it's easy, they're trying to sell you something. It's simple, not easy, but it takes a lot. Like, man, you and me, and I've been doing this for a long time at a very high level. Like, it takes a lot to find that clarity. And I also think, look, guys, Min's coming on here asking for help, right? You think I don't message him when I have a problem? I think there's a power in being a collective community of people who want to win in the same ways, because then you know who to bounce ideas off of, and you're not just floundering on your own and giving up. So I think that this hopefully highlights that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Bye, Min. We'll see you later.
Bye,
Everyone,
Min.
tune in next week. Hit us with your 5-star review. Let us know who won, Randy or Lauren. If you have a better solution to Min, we'd also love to hear that. Wherever you want to tell me. It's no smoke signals.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.